Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is my absolute pleasure to be with you here again today, and I want to say thanks for joining. We have an amazing session set up to talk about one of my absolute favorite places on planet Earth, and some great stories to share and to get you and hopefully your clients excited about cruising to Japan. But as always, last I checked, I am John Chernesky, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. Let's give a few seconds for everybody to kind of get tuned in here, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. I always love to know, where are you from? And you just start, you know this already. Connie, hello from Panacea, or yeah, I'm going to say it's Panacea Holidays. Welcome, Connie. Where are you from? How's my hair looking today? And as always, the puppet behind me had a big night last night, so let's try and just keep it down because he was overserved yet again. Dr. Carl, hello, welcome, sir. Good to have you with us. Always a pleasure. I'm going to rate my hair like a 10 out of 10. I think it's really rocking it today. Tammy from Surrey, BC. I do believe that's British Columbia, and I also believe that is in Canada. I did pretty well in geography when I was in high school. Linda from not too far from where I'm at, Long Beach, California. Slightly nicer weather for you, Linda. You actually have an ocean breeze, whereas I do not. Ryan from beautiful, tropical Las Vegas. Welcome, Ryan. Thanks for joining in. Good to have you with us. Sandra from Olympia, Washington. Your hair looks great. Sandra, I'm just going to say, I know it does. But thank you for confirming that. I do appreciate the vote of confidence because my ego is very fragile. Rich from Chicago. Is it snowing in Chicago yet, Rich? That's my question. I know it's about to get cold there. I'm kind of envious, actually. I can't wait to put a sweater on. Chris, hola, Chris from Puerto Vallarta. Welcome, Chris. All right, so you now are the farthest away in terms of, getting away from the U.S. Tracy from Hawaii, also aloha, pretty far away as well. I'm hoping somebody from Japan joins in, although not the best time difference right now. David from Watkins Glen, Finger Lakes of New York. I do believe you have a racetrack nearby there, David. Welcome. Good to have you with us. Arlene from, every time I have trouble with this one, a beautiful town in Ontario. How about that? Mississauga, I do believe, Arlene, that's how you pronounce it. If I was incorrect, just keep it to yourself. Susan from Spearfish, South Dakota. Spearfish. When we come up with a name for the town, what are we going to call our town? What about Spearfish? That's a great idea. Let's go with that. Interesting. I hope there's probably an interesting story behind that, actually. I'm going to look that up. Bedhead. You or me, Susan? I'm not sure who you're referring to there. But you are right. I live in a constant state of bedhead. Okay, Susan, thank you. And Tony, hello, welcome. Not sure where you're from, but welcome joining us on the YouTube. And Gia from South Tampa, Florida, welcome. Is it Gia or Gia? I'm going to go Gia. Welcome, and let's start the show. As always, we have a couple things to let you know about at the start. For those on Facebook, if you need the closed captioning to come on, just hit the option at the bottom there. Just select on for captions and you'll get a live transcript. If you need that assistance, we'll help you out. And please do stick around. We've got some questions that were submitted ahead of time that we'll answer at the end. And of course, as your questions come in during the presentation, we'll do our best to cover them as we move through. Okay, makes sense? I hope so. All right, let us start now. And as always, this is me. I love showing pictures of my family, as you know, and our travels. We just were in Alaska not that long ago, a few weeks ago, or a month or so. Oh, actually, it was 2 months now. I can't believe it's been 2 months. Pictures here from our trips to Alaska, from our trips to the Caribbean. That underwater shot is not in Alaska. And a couple shots there from the place we're going to talk about today, Japan. And so we're very excited to feature that. And I had the great pleasure of sailing on the Diamond Princess 2 years ago. And I sailed with a lady who's going to join us today as a special guest. And so we're going to have some stories to share. But you can tell by the pictures, it was we were so fortunate to have taken the cruise that we did with our friends from Ensemble during their elite event. And I was able to bring my family and all the places we visited, the history, the culture, the service, the food, everything about Japan, the cleanliness. It's just this amazing society that even though I don't speak Japanese, I would move there in a heartbeat. It is a very welcoming place. So we are going to ask you to complete a survey. We want to try to understand your knowledge of Japan. So you'll see in Facebook, sorry, it's only for the Facebook audience, there's a survey there. If you could please complete that, would appreciate it. And while you're doing that, I want to show you a quick video to get you excited about Japan. So let's roll the tape. Well, that is a great video. It's actually my first time seeing it. I wanted to be surprised by it, and that wowed me. It makes me want to go back to Japan. You can tell Japan has it all. Who knew you could go skiing in Japan, right? You absolutely can. All the way up north, all the way south in terms of tropical weather and getting in the water. So it's your choice what you want to do in Japan. Okay, and with that, I'd like to bring in one of my special co-hosts, Andrea Sopanonical. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Introduce yourself to the folks at home here, if you don't mind.
Sure. So I am a national account manager here for Princess Cruises, and I started my career over 20 years ago as a reservation agent working in our corporate office there in Santa Clarita. I worked in a variety of different positions and departments for about 10 years, and then I moved to field sales and was the business development manager in the Los Angeles area. And then a few years ago, I moved to national accounts, but I absolutely love getting to share knowledge and information about Princess's products, services, destinations, but really connecting and building relationships, including with my co-presenter today, Yoko Scott, who I met. We were trying to think back. It was probably been about 8 years ago. I walked into her office and started talking about this new program we had sailing to Japan. And from that, I've done different presentations with Yoko. I know she's joined my BDM colleagues across the United States and Canada and gets to share her information and knowledge about Japan.
Well, that's very exciting. And two comments I'll make. One, I love your backdrop. I think we obviously got a bulk discount when we bought these. And two, you started 20 years ago when you were only 6 years old. So that's great. So welcome to the show, Andrea. And as you mentioned, Yoko, let us bring Yoko in. Yoko, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Yoko Scott. I'm the Regional Promotion Director of JNTO Los Angeles office. Hi to everybody. I'm in the downtown LA today. As Andrea mentioned, we are so lucky to have a great relationship with Princess Cruises for years. And we have done so many joint promotions in past. And John, thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm so delighted to be here and talking about my beautiful country today. And today I'd like to share updates about the current situation and safety measures, also various destination and cultural experience in Japan. And first, due to the spread of the COVID-19, Japan, unfortunately, still remains closed. And the border enforcement measures are in place until the further notice. But we are closely monitoring the COVID-19 situation in Japan and updating information daily, and which you can access through the JNTO's COVID-19 advisory page on our website. However, big thank you to everyone. The Tokyo 2020 Olympics and Paralympics have safely completed with everybody's support and cooperation, including athletes and staff and around the world and many volunteers. So next big event will be Osaka World Expo in Osaka 2025. We can't wait.
That's a long ways off, but it's something to look forward to for sure. And I definitely watched all the Olympics, and they were so exciting. I was sad to see the stands empty, but clearly the fact the event went on was great. And excited to have you here with us, Yoko. Now, Yoko, where were you born in Japan?
I was born in Kawasaki, which is between Tokyo and Yokohama.
Okay.
I know it's a small city, but Kawasaki is famous for Kawasaki Motors and others.
Yeah, definitely a name we've all heard. Okay, so let's show the survey results if we can to see your knowledge. So only 1% of the people joining in think they're a genius about Japan. 19% solid grasp, 52% very basic, and 28% deer in the headlights. So we hope to improve upon that as we get into the show. Speaking of which, let's get into the show and take over and dive into the material. So let's have it.
Yeah, so there's a number of reasons why I think Japan is on so many people's bucket lists. It really is a traveler's dream destination, one of the most desirable places to visit, with ancient cultures and traditions, yet some of the most modern cities in the world. And so there's a number of reasons why Japan has been named one of the top 10 countries to visit. It has some of the best cities in the world, including Tokyo and Kyoto. And one of the best trips you can take is to the island of Hokkaido. But I know, Yoko, there's many more reasons why people want to visit Japan, isn't there?
Yes. Japan has a very long and very rich history and culture. Japan is very unique because it is well mixed with old tradition and modern culture from both the East and West. And for culture, we respect and work very hard to keep our tradition alive, but we are also very open-minded to choose to adapt the wonderful elements of Western culture. Let's talk about a few reasons why Japan. Safety, as John said, Japan is one of the safest country in the world and very low crime rate. And cleanness. Japan is very small, but it's very organized and clean. You will recognize how clean Japan is, especially when you go to the public toilet. And food. Food is a big part of the traveling the world. Tokyo is a city with the most Michelin star restaurants, even more than Paris. But we can also guarantee you that you would enjoy even the local restaurant with their delicious meal with local hospitality.
Yeah. And there's a number of reasons why to cruise to Japan with Princess. One, we have Diamond Princess, which was named Best International Ship in Japan. And it's even better because now she's a medallion class ship. We've also won a couple awards, including Best Cruise Line in Asia, as well as Best Asia Itineraries. And we do have a special offer for attending to today's presentation. Any new booking you make for any Japan cruise between now and October 5th, you can apply offer code Japan 2021 and get up to $100 in shipboard credit for your bookings. So new bookings, sailings up to 12 days will receive $50 shipboard credit, and voyages 13 days and more will receive $100 shipboard credit. So just enter or mention offer code Japan 2021.
Japan 21. Don't add the other 20. Just Japan
Sorry,
21. And if you book on Polar, it's there in the offer code field. It's same for the GDS. There is a field you can put Japan 21 in there to get it applied. But do it as you're making the booking. Don't do it after, because then it's a big pain. So we don't want you to waste your time on that.
Yeah. So Japan really is ideal for cruising, being that it's an island nation. And we are scheduled to return to sailings in Japan in April of next year. So we have voyages scheduled for April through November of 2022. And our 2023 program is already open. Those voyages will begin in March and again go through November. But next year we do have 38 different itineraries that call to over 30 different destinations. And many of our voyages coincide with different festivals, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. We also give guests the opportunity to visit 10 different UNESCO World Heritage Sites. But Yoko, there's many more UNESCO World Heritage Sites than just 10, isn't there?
Well, 20 cultural heritage sites and 5 natural heritage sites are registered in Japan, and including 2 more that UNESCO just added it this year. And if you are interested in visiting the World Heritage Site, welcome to Japan. Japan is a perfect place for you. And the World Heritage Sites are located in the various places from all the way from North Hokkaido to all the way to the Okinawa. And some examples: the beautiful Shiretoko National Park in Hokkaido, century-located temple complex of Kyoto and Nara, and floating shrine of Itsukushima Shrine in Miyajima Island, and the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Dome as a symbol of reconstruction and continue to spread a message of peace to the world. And you can't forget that beautiful White Castle. And this is original castle of Himeji-jo. And the movie, Do You Remember the Last Samurai, was filmed there partially. And the beautiful steel-thatched roof of the historical village of Shirakawa-go in Takayama, and don't miss Japan's symbol of Mount Fuji, and many to go.
Yeah. And so we have our award-winning Princess Shore excursions that take guests not only to UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but they really are designed to maximize time exploring and minimize hassle. We have exclusive tours partnering with Discovery and Animal Planet that cannot be booked anywhere else. We have a wide variety. We have, everything from mild to wild, or, easy to strenuous. Now, when we are sailing in Japan, we do sail from 2 home ports. We sail from the port of Yokohama, which is the port we use for Tokyo, as well as the port of Kobe. And so, Yoko, can you tell us a little bit more about these ports, and starting with Yokohama?
Yeah, sure. You may know Yokohama as a port town, but actually Yokohama is the second largest city after Tokyo. It's less than 20 miles from Tokyo, and it takes about an hour. Of course, it depends on the traffic, but it's only 30 minutes by train. And great hotels and restaurants and so many things to do before and after the cruise. Yokohama Landmark Tower, skyscraper with shopping complex. Yokohama Red Bricks warehouses, or you can enjoy the shopping and dining of every kind. And Japanese love the ramen noodles. So they create the Ramen Noodle Museum. You can try to taste all the different flavors, at least 30 or more the regions from Japan. And if you like the ramen, just like us, Japanese, one more museum I can recommend, Cup Noodle Museum. You can learn their history and create your own flavor of the cup noodle. It's kind of funny, but it's fun. And if you love the baseball, how about watching a Japanese baseball game at the Yokohama stadiums? You know, the Japanese love the baseball game, and we enjoy the cold beer with edamame and even sushi when we watch the game. I think you would like it.
And then a little bit about Kobe.
Yes. Kobe has been an important port city for many centuries. Kobe port was among the first to be opened to the foreign trade in 19th century, which is a long time ago, alongside the port of Yokohama and Nagasaki. Kobe is a very beautiful port city in Western Japan and easy access. And it's only about 20 minutes or so from Osaka and Kyoto, and a 1 hour flight from Tokyo. And you could explore the bustling waterfront in such as Harborland, Kobe Port Tower, and you can't miss the Kobe beef, which is beyond words. A world famous melting in the mouth sensation. If you like the Japanese hot spring, I would recommend go to the Arima Onsen Hot Spring. This is a small town, but it's only takes about a half hour from Kobe by train, and they are good as a princess, famous Izumi bath of a diamond princess.
Oh.
Wonderful hot spring.
Yeah, we'll talk about Izumi in a little bit too. Now, I know some of the questions we had asked about what to do pre or post cruise, and I know you had recommended visiting the Golden Route. Yep. So can you tell us a little more about the Golden Route, starting with Tokyo?
Sure. Golden Route is recommended for the first timers, and all the cities are easily connected with a bullet train. And modern and high-tech side of Japan in the bustling street of Tokyo, or iconic Mount Fuji, soak in the hot spring in Hakone, and historical roots of Japan in Kyoto. And of course, the great food and Sun-Tree whiskey in Osaka, Hiroshima, with the natural beauty and World Heritage Site, all one trip in about 7 to 10 days.
That's great.
And can I just say, you mentioned the bullet train, and I want to just kind of warn all of the Americans about the schedule. If the train says it's going to leave at 12:32 p.m. and you show up at 12:33 p.m., you have missed the train, because that train is on the minute. It isn't like American trains where it's roughly give or take. It is, and I've lived that dream. I missed a train going down from Tokyo. Anyway, so be on time. It's my only comment.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we do offer actually cruise tours in Japan, which are all pre-cruise. So they are 5 days on land. You'd fly into Osaka and then spend 2 days in Kyoto, get to visit Nara before boarding that bullet train to take us to Tokyo for 3 nights, and then would board Diamond Princess for 8 to 10 day sailings. So let's start talking about some of our sailings. We have all of Japan covered, starting with the northern island of Hokkaido. And when sailing Hokkaido, we sail through the Shiritoku Peninsula, which is named one of the 7 cruise wonders of the world. It's one of the richest ecosystems in the world. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's many different marine animals that can be seen here, different whales, dolphins, porpoises. But I also want to call out that we do stop at Korsakov, Russia. And I point this out because this is a very different experience than St. Petersburg. For those clients who say they've been everywhere, done everything, they probably have not been to Korsakov, Russia. And one of the tours we offer is a visit to a bear museum. It's actually one of our Discovery Family shore excursions. And so you get to learn about bears, the different tales and stories from this part of Russia. You can make a traditional Russian doll before doing some shopping and heading back to the port. And then we do call the different ports around, including Ataru, Hakodate, Amori, Kyushu. But Yoko, I know Hokkaido's probably known best for what, as being a great place for seafood, isn't it?
Yes. Well, Hokkaido is the second largest island. It's very, very big. And also the seafood heaven. And many beautiful forests, lakes, and wildflowers, and bubbling natural hot springs. And summer is very present, all the kind of the activities, outdoor activities. In the winter, of course, you can enjoy skiing, snowboarding, but Hokkaido is actually become very popular all year around. You may love the Lavender Festival in Furano, a romantic port town in Otaru, $1 million night view in Hakodate, snow festival in Sapporo, and skiers heaven Niseko, which is one of Japan's most loved ski resort, famed for its covered high quality powder snow there.
And I think there's a beverage some people might recognize that's actually from Hokkaido, isn't there?
Yes, you can't miss it. If you are in Sapporo, don't forget to try the Sapporo beer, which is originated here in Sapporo since 1877. You have to have a Japanese beer. And this museum, Sapporo Museum, is temporarily closed, but usually, offer the tours and also tasting with a small fee. But however, I heard the government has announced yesterday will be lifted the state of the emergency in various places, including Hokkaido. So hopefully you can taste the Sapporo beer soon.
I hope so. And so just south of Hokkaido is Tohoku, right?
Yes. This is called the northern part of Japan. We call the Tohoku. Tohoku consists with 6 different prefectures. It's well known. It's a beautiful countryside. And again, mountains, lakes, rivers, and coastline with very rich samurai culture and tradition and famous local products. And as a leading producer of the nation's rice, Tohoku has many well-known sake breweries and sake brand. And after all-day activities, you can enjoy soaking in the hot spring at the old style of the Japanese inn. And after the hot spring, you can change to the kimono and have a great meal in your private room. So you can have a great Japanese hospitality there.
Okay. So let's move a little bit more towards central Japan. And our Japan Explorer voyages stop at Kagoshima, which has shore excursion options to different Japanese onsens. We also call it Hiroshima, which you can visit that UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Hiroshima Peace Memorial, as well as the Hiroshima Castle. We call it Kochi, as well as Osaka, which is the gateway to Kyoto and has many different museums and memorials. And then we also call to Shimizu, which is a late night call, or as we refer to it, a more ashore port of call. And from Shimizu, you can actually view Mount Fuji, which is the tallest mountain in Japan. And central Japan is known as the Dragon Route.
Yes. So let me just highlights of each city. This Dragon Route, or we call the central Japan, including Nagano and Gifu and Kanazawa. So let's talk about Nagano first. Nagano is so well known for ski resort. We had a Winter Olympic there once, and you can enjoy the winter wonderland in the scenic mountains and snow monkeys in the hot spring. Oh, they will steal your heart. And also Gifu, Takayama City has beautiful towns in the mountains, and Shirakawa-go has a collection of the small villages and experience of the life in the traditional thatched farmhouses. And Kanazawa, it means a marsh of gold, and they produce 99% of the gold leaf made in Japan. And try the maybe ice cream with a little sprinkle of the gold leaf. This is a picture perfect. And also iconic Kendokuen Garden is nearby Kanazawa Castle, and famous for its wonderful cuisine. And also there's a lot of more, but I have to mention. They have very, very traditional, impeccable geisha and samurai culture there. So if you've been to the Kyoto once, why not the Kanazawa? You can feel the same way, but it's with great seafood.
Oh, great. And then moving a little farther to the southern part of Japan, there's the Kyushu area, right?
Yes, the Kyushu is the third largest island in South, internationally famous, and the rich and creamy tonkatsu ramen in Fukuoka. Of course, they offer more, but wonderful hot spring in Beppu, dramatic mountain, and a great view of the smoking Sakurajima, and one of the most active volcano, and staring into the crater of the volcano atop of the Mount Aso. They, kind of the slow life there, but it's a beautiful places. You will love there.
Yeah, I like the Southern Islands. It really is a world away from the mainland. They have their own distinct culture, dialect, and cuisine, and it really is very tropical. It's a tropical paradise. And our Southern Islands Explorer Cruise is called to Okinawa, which there's different memorials and museums there, but also to Ishigaki, which has some of the most beautiful crystal clear waters and is really perfect for diving.
Yes, Okinawa is hailed as one of the Asia's leading diving spots in natural and artificial reefs and underwater hot springs and caves and corals and lots of the sea life there. And you can also watch the big but so cute turtle in Yaejima Island and hammerhead sharks in Yonaguni and so many beautiful beaches. And also, if you're not on the beach, you can explore Okinawa's culture, which is because of Okinawa's history as independent kingdom is very different from the mainland Japan. And Okinawa is famous for longevity. And they maintain a powerful social network, a long life circle of friends, and support people well into the old age. They have a very good system, and also they have a strong sense of the purpose in life. They eat well, they play well, and they laugh a lot.
That's great.
I spent one day in Okinawa, and I'm just going to count on that longevity that I absorbed while I was there. I did drink a lot of sake, though, so I'm not sure that helped. It is a very different. It's very different, as you say, from mainland Japan and Tokyo, but very special place.
Yeah, and there's so many festivals. Japan is really a very festive land, and there's festivals all year long, isn't there?
We love the festivals, and then just celebrates ties to culture, history, and religion. Many of the festivals welcome tourists to take part and share the same experience with the locals. And I think it's going to be so much fun to join and a great experience.
Yeah, and many of our voyages, as I mentioned, coincide with different festivals. And when you take a Princess Shore excursion, I want to mention we have a return to ship guarantee. So it takes out some of the stress of touring these cities or taking part of these festivals at night. You don't have to worry if the tour is running late, if the ship's going to leave you or not. We are in contact with those tour operators. And so if a tour is running late, we will make sure we hold the ship for you. And so let's start talking about some of the different festivals. Japan during the summer season is known as Hanabi, which is fire flower season. And some of the world's largest and oldest fireworks shows take place in Japan, including in Kumano, which the Kumano fireworks show has taken place for over 300 years. And in fact, you can see the fireworks from the deck of Diamond Princess as well. But 300 years is not even the oldest festival that guests can see. The Gion Festival, which is in Kyoto, which you can access through Osaka, has taken place since the year 869, not 1869, 869. And it turns the city into a huge party where there is a procession of floats that are paraded through the streets. And also the Tianjin Festival in Osaka, which is named one of the top 3 festivals in Japan. It has a procession of portable shrines. There is a 100-boat parade float down the Okawa River, and then culminates with an hour-and-a-half fireworks show. So pretty special. So Yoko, can you give us a little more details about those festivals and more?
Sure, I will do the highlights of the quickly, okay? Aoi Matsuri in May, the main attraction is a large parade over the 500 people dressed in the noble style of the Heian period, which is for a long time ago. And the original of the festival is said to have started in the 7th century with the aim of protecting Kyoto from the natural disasters. And Gion Matsuri is in July and ranked one of the Japan's 3 best festivals, featuring over 20 meter, which is a 65 feet tall festival floats. It takes place over the entire month of July, but many different events every day. But the grand procession of the floats on July 17th is particularly spectacular. And the last festival, Jidai Matsuri in October, it features a wonderful historical parade which covers over 1,000 years, during which Kyoto served as Japan's capital. And you would definitely enjoy this festival. Participants of the parade are dressed in accurate costume from the almost every period of the Japanese history, as well as the famous historical figures.
Mm-hmm. And so there's, like we mentioned, festivals all year round, but especially during the summer. And our Circle Japan voyage during August, guests can see the Nibuta Festival in Amori. And this is where there's large illuminated floats that depict different mythical Japanese warriors, but also some modern day superheroes. I know in the last couple of years, there's been Star Wars characters that have been featured. And then in Akita, there's the Kanto Festival, which I am so fascinated by this. The participants carry 200 poles, bamboo poles that weigh over 100 pounds. And they're carried on their palms of their hands, their foreheads, their backs, their shoulders. I know you have a picture there in the middle that really depicts exactly what the Kanto Festival offers.
Okay, so Nebuta in Aomori starts from August 2nd to 7th. The highlight of the event is daily parade, enormous lantern floats, and flanked by large taiko drum and musicians and dancers. And local team built this festival, 12,000 floats. And, they take like a year to design and produce for those huge floats. It's a really big deal for them. And Kanto Lantern in Akita, over 200 long bamboo poles with up to 46 lanterns lit by the real candle attached to each balance. That's amazing. And performers change every few minutes and gradually add extension to the pole until the kanto are at the maximum height. That's so tall. And also the very famous Tanabata festivals in Sendai are known as star festivals. And it's very colorful. It's handmade. And one popular Tanabata custom is to write our wishes on a piece of paper and hang it on the bamboo tree. And we hope that all the wishes come true.
Mm-hmm. So we talked a lot about what you can see and do. So let's talk a little bit more about experiencing Diamond Princess and how you get to sail around Japan. So Diamond Princess was built in Japan and then customized, or as we like to refer to it, revitalized in 2014. So guests really get to experience the Japanese culture on board. There's still all the familiar comforts from Princess, including movies Under the Stars and The Sanctuary. We have our Broadway-style production shows shown in our Princess Theater, including The Secret Silk, which is a Stephen Schwartz production. We have casinos and bingo. We have art auctions and culinary demonstrations. We also still have our traditional Western-style menus, which feature items like steak medallions or signature pastas. And we do still have specialty restaurants, including Sabatini's, as well as Sterling Steakhouse. But we really do want guests to experience and immerse themselves in Japanese culture while on board. And so we do source local entertainers from musicians and artists and dancers. We have Rakugo comedic storytelling. We also do a Kagami Wari, or a sake barrel breaking ceremony at the beginning of every cruise, which is pictured there. It's a large barrel of sake that is cracked open with wooden mallets. And it's designed to signify good luck or good fortune, which I think is appropriate at the beginning of any cruise. But my favorite way to experience a destination I'm visiting is through food. And we have expanded menus while in Japan. So you can, in addition to the Western style menus, we do have Japanese dishes, including tamagoyaki, which is a Japanese style omelet available for breakfast. We have Japanese sticky rice available at all dining locations all day long. We have ramen. We have shabu shabu, which is those thinly sliced meats and vegetables that are simmered in different soup broths. But I think the dish most people associate or think about when you hear Japan is sushi. And we have sushi available in a wide variety of dining locations on Diamond Princess. But we also have Kai Sushi, which is a specialty restaurant. And the menu there features obviously sushi, sashimi, seafood cocktails. We even have dessert, including a matcha ice cream with a red bean paste. And there's a wide variety of different sakis from the different regions that we're sailing to. And then
I just want to say that sushi restaurant is a special experience and definitely not to be missed. And the quality is just phenomenal. And our team and we hire sushi, trained proper sushi chef to run the facility. So it is definitely worth your time.
Yeah. And then Izumi is modeled after a traditional Japanese onsen or Japanese bath. And it's the largest Japanese bath of its kind at sea and exclusive to Diamond Princess. So there are, steam rooms and saunas and soaking tubs with spectacular ocean views. There are separate facilities, though, for men and women, as well as an outdoor area for mixed. But in the Japanese culture, it is highly offensive to wear clothing in an onsen. So that is why in the indoor areas, there are separate facilities for men and women. But outdoors, we do require swimwear to be worn. And you can see here in the picture, there's a large outdoor whirlpool. And there's also a traditional Japanese foot bath, which has this beautiful wooden gazebo. There's lounge chairs and fresh fruit refreshments that are also available. But I know, John, you had mentioned you and Yoko actually sailed a few years ago on Diamond Princess.
Can I talk about the Izumi bath real quick?
Oh, yeah,
just to throw in some context for that. So I was actually involved in that project. And the first time I went to Japan to really spend time there was to help research the onsen experience. We've mentioned onsen throughout the presentation, and onsen is basically a Japanese natural spring. And depending where you are in Japan, there's different mineral qualities that are believed to help, basically provide a therapy if you have arthritis or whatever it might be. There's a whole list, and there's different all throughout the country you can go. And so I was able to tour 3 different onsen outside of Tokyo and then down to Nagasaki. And with my guide who worked for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, the shipyard that originally built Diamond Princess, we visited these onsen. And you're absolutely right, Andrea. Clothing is not allowed when you're in the water. And so here I am, me and this Kawate-san is his name, a wonderful Japanese designer working for the shipyard, standing completely in our birthday suits, admiring the architecture of each of these onsen and how could we replicate that on the ship. And we did that repeatedly throughout Japan. And so we got very close, me and Kawate-san, but it was one of the highlights of my career at Princess, such a unique trip, and to replicate this on board. And of course, we are still mandated by U.S. public health standards. And so it's not a true onsen experience like you get ashore with the natural minerals because we have chlorination, but the experience we're trying to replicate as best we can, and the team did an amazing job building that out. But if you're on board Diamond Princess, highly recommend you spend an afternoon there and soaking and just enjoying yourself. And yes, we did have our trip. I was alluding to it earlier, and sailing with Yoko back in May of 2019, and the experience there was so special, to say the very least. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about that. This is a picture of me and most of my family. My son John actually was not in this picture, but there's Michael at the Matsuyama Castle, and I got to tour there. And I think that was originally built in the early 1600s, and it's burned down a couple times, and lightning strikes and all sorts of drama, but it is a sight to behold. And so, Yoko, I think these are some pictures from that trip, yeah?
Yes, that was a really, really wonderful trip. Still, if I remember, I feel so moved and a wonderful time. And then the end, I was so sad, by the way, to say goodbye on the last day. That much, I had a really, really great time. So let me just talk about a little bit the highlights of the trip. So we went to the Kochi. It's very well known for the tosawashi and traditional handmade Japanese paper, historical townhouse, and Kochi Castle. That's amazing sake breweries. And we did the Hiroshima, Itsukushima Shrine, and beautiful, lots of experience. We did, putting a kimono and trying all the cultural experience. And Matsuyama, which is this castle is originally built. It's 1854. As John said, it's yes, fire down, but with 1300 years of history, and still they survive. This is one of the survived the castle as original, and. Matsuyama has also the Dogo Hot Spring, which is, the oldest hot spring resort in Japan with 1300 years history. So
and Yoko, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I actually took my family to the Dogo Onsen in the morning before we did our afternoon tour. And unfortunately, my wife couldn't join me and my boys because it is separated.
Right.
And we still talk about that experience. And when we were there was a Japanese man with his little son who was probably 2 years old. And the bathing is such a ritual and part of the culture. It was very neat to experience and feel like a local when I was there.
Thank you. I just want to say, after the lunch, we had only 15 minutes, but from my group, they said, I gotta try. So they really did it in just 15 minutes with somebody and it was a wonderful experience. And the last place, Miyazaki, we visited the Udo Shrine, which is one of the beautiful Nichinan coastline, and we walked 15 to 20 minutes to get to the shrine down there. It was amazing. That was a breathtaking, beautiful. Many people visit that shrine for looking for the good luck, like a good love, and also wishing to have many kids. So it is a popular place. So that's what we did. But the point is, what I want to say is, you can enjoy every city life on board on the ship, in a great restaurant and shopping, and I even enjoyed so much. But after, get off the port, we offer you wonderful tours. So definitely, this is the only special thing for the cruise trip, and also hospitality of each port call was a heart warming experience even for me. We are getting closer to the port, even from far distance. We saw that people are waving with the big flags and the taiko drum, and we really realized we are so welcome. And also, many school children, they have, dancing, and lots of, people, all the people coming from town and to see us and welcome us and say goodbye to us. That was a very, very heartwarming experience.
That was one of the most special moments of the trip because it was the very first time when we were in Matsuyama that the Diamond Princess had been to the port. And so as we're leaving, you're absolutely right. There were thousands of people coming in to wave goodbye in the fireboat and the water cannon. That was a very emotional moment.
Wonderful.
And what hospitality.
Yes.
That was great. And then here's another picture when we were in Kochi, I believe. Yep.
Yes. So, my cruise experience was just a fam trip. And that was about 144 people. That was the biggest fam I ever worked in. But it was wonderful. Everybody was so professional. And the service on the ship, I felt like a 5-star hotel service. And off the port, and so many local people and local products. So next time, hopefully I can go back and join the many different routes of the Diamond Princess all around Japan. And I was so grateful, the Princess Cruise. And John, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. It's a wonderful, wonderful. That was my conclusion.
Well, thank you so much, and for sharing your passion and love of your home country, and for all that you do to help us help people explore and experience Japan, because it can be a little intimidating for people because you may not speak the language. And I always like to say that cruising provides a great value for exploring many different places in Japan. You've seen the itineraries we're showing you, and to be able to either do a circumnavigation or to explore up Hokkaido or go down to Okinawa, that's hard to do if you're just flying or taking buses around. And so obviously you have the comfort of the Great Diamond Princess to take you to these amazing places. But Yoko, thank you for your ongoing partnership and everything that you do. You're just a treat for us to work with. We love it. So thank you. Thank you. And then, so just a reminder, we have the special offer in place, and for all new Japanese cruise bookings that are available to book now on Diamond Princess. And the bookings through October 5th. If you make a booking now between October 5th, you get up to $100 in spending money per cabin. Enter the offer code Japan21 in either Polar Online or in your GDS, or if you happen to call in to make the booking. You can give the code then, make it as part of the booking, please. And we only got, a week or so for that offer. And I just want to say thank you as our umbrella program called Princess Partners. It's everything we do. It's all our training programs, all of our sales team, the webinars that we're doing here, the newsletter we send out each week, everything we offer you all as our great partners in the travel advisor community. I want to say thank you, but please take advantage of all the tools and training that we are giving. And the fact you're here today says that you are, so congratulations. And of course, every booking you make, I have to make this plug, Princess Plus is the way to go. And it is not just a sales pitch, because although it does give you more commission, because what it's doing is taking the most popular amenities that people buy anyway, the Premier Beverage Package, which includes the bar service charges. You've got the unlimited Wi-Fi with MedallionNet, which is blazing fast. And of course, the crew incentive, formerly known as the gratuities. All of that, if you bought that separately, $95 per day, but it's only $40 per day when you buy it through Princess Plus, which is almost a 60% savings. And like I said, that is commissionable because it raises the price. But I tell my friends and family all the time, if you're going to take a cruise with Princess, make sure to buy Princess Plus. And it's combinable with everything that you see there. So it's one of those things I tell my friends, you're crazy if you don't buy Princess Plus, but that's just me. If you're not already following me on Facebook, please do so. Search for Princess VP Sales. Don't search for my name because when they get rid of me, they want to keep the account going. And with that, let's take some questions. We had some submitted during the show, and Karine is asking me, because all of my travels to Japan, what is the #1 place I would recommend in Japan? Oh, and that is, I would say that's an impossible question to answer because I had so many great experiences. And I will say, we talked about food, and I told the story before. And you mentioned the Kobe beef. Well, the prefectures of Japan are basically their counties. And so Kobe is like a county or prefecture. And when I was in Nagasaki, we traveled a little north into a prefecture called Saga. And every year in Japan, there is a competition for who has the best quality beef. And Kobe is obviously famous because it wins a lot, but Saga had just won the competition. And we had for lunch this steak at a roadside diner, and it was the best steak of my life. And so I would just say, if you go to Japan, just explore some off the beaten path experiences, whether it's a ramen shop down an alley or going to an onsen, and experience and try and immerse yourself in the local culture. But everywhere I've been to Japan, thank you, Elizabeth, konnichiwa Yoko to you, great. And so I just say explore and get to feel like you're a little bit of a local. And no matter where you go, you're going to have a great time. There was also a question from Vicky about, is September a good time to go? And I know in the summer months, it can get very hot. And so just be prepared that it's hot. And so you tell me, I've never been there in September, Yoko. How is September?
Yes, still it's warm, the global warming, but September is less crowded and maybe the price is a little better. So September is a good month to travel.
Okay, that's good. And then Karen is asking, are the sailings scheduled to allow you to do back-to-back cruises and sail a few different itineraries? So I think we absolutely set it up that way, and you can combine them so that it's not just the same trip over and over. And I was, while you were presenting, Yoko, and I'm learning new things as you're talking, I was saying, well, when I win the lottery this weekend, I'm just going to I'm going to live on the Diamond Princess for all of next season, and I'm going to get to experience all of Japan, because you can do that. It's pretty cool. And then were there any other questions? So Rich is asking, does Princess Plus include room service charges also? So it includes the crew incentive, which covers the gratuity you would normally pay to your room steward and to your waiters. But if you are having things delivered that may cost an extra fee, like let's say a pizza delivery, or something like that, then that is not included. But all the drinks, and whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, coffees, bottled waters, etc., are all included. Okay, and with that, let's. There were some pre-submitted questions. Let's cover those. Will you have pre- and post-cruise excursion opportunities to delve deeper into the culture and the country of Japan?
Yes, so we do have our pre-cruise tour. That is 5 days before the cruise.
Yeah, so when you think of cruise tours, most people think Alaska, and I'm guilty of that as well because we talk about it so much. We have 5 lodges that we own and operate, so you typically think, oh, Alaska is the only place you can do a cruise tour. That is not true. Japan, as Andrea was sharing earlier, offers cruise tours for pre or post opportunities. You can do them in Europe, you can do them in Australia, but Japan definitely has great opportunities. And as I like to say, if you're going to a foreign place that you've never been and you're going on a cruise, absolutely talk to your clients about doing a pre or post cruise tour package in this case, because you just get to experience more of that great country. Okay, next up, what is the best time to go to Japan? So we kind of touched on this, but is there such a thing as a best time to go to Japan?
Me? I would
Yeah, what do
say
you think?
always, anytime. Well, spring, cherry blossom, very beautiful. And the
Yeah.
weather is very nice. Summer, lots of festivals. And in the fall, you can see all the different, leaves changing colors. And winter is a great seafood and, winter sports and hot spring and sake. Anytime.
Imagine a day of skiing and then going into the onsen and just getting that relief and that beautiful experience with the snow around you. I remember a gentleman used to work for us named Derek, and we had a long weekend here in the United States. It was a 3-day weekend, and he had taken Friday off, and we had a meeting on Tuesday. And I said, well, how was your weekend? He said, that was good. I went skiing. I said, where'd you go? He said, I went to Japan. I said, what? And it was cheaper for him at the time. This is probably 4 years ago. It was cheaper for him. He was going to Colorado. He was trying to go to Vail or Aspen, and the cost of going there and the lift tickets. And he did the math on going to Hokkaido, and he went skiing for 2.5 days in Japan. I was like, you are an adventurous traveler. That was very cool. Okay, next question from David. Is there an itinerary that includes dragon race festivals? Good question. Sounds fun.
I don't think we have an itinerary that features dragon race festivals. Not that I'm aware. We have a number of festivals, 7, I think, but I don't recall seeing dragon race.
Does that ring a bell with you, Yoko, the Dragon Race
Yes,
Festival?
very well known, yes.
And-
If you have a question, just contact us and I will give you some, suggested itineraries, maybe, the other time, maybe not the cruise, but we have
Yeah.
lots of ideas and suggestions.
That's good. Okay. Elwin is asking, which months are best to see the cherry blossoms and then the color in the fall? I think you said the spring, March, April is usually the best time for cherry blossoms. Is that correct?
Right. So the cherry blossom comes from the south, starts from March and up to beginning of April around Tokyo area. But if you want to go to see the cherry blossom later, in Hokkaido, you can see up to the beginning of May. And fall depends on, you are mountainside or you're on Tokyo, but it's late October and November and even December, as you can enjoy that viewing, changing colors and great meals and very comfortable weather.
Yeah, it's a good point about the length of Japan as a series of islands and how far south, all the way down Okinawa, all the way up to Hokkaido, the latitude that covers. The climate is very, very different, and the seasons have obviously a different time frame based on that. So it really depends where you're going in Japan to answer that question. So that's a very good point. Good question, though. Is group pricing available for 2023? I do believe we've opened up our group. Is that correct, Andrea?
You are correct. Yep, 2023 is open, and so is group pricing.
Excellent. Does the main dining room feature Japanese-inspired food on these sailings? I think you touched upon that. There's definitely some options there. And, one thing we didn't talk about is what I loved about cruising in Japan on our trip, Yoko, was that we were North Americans, or the group that we were was from the US and Canada. But what's great about Japan cruising on Diamond Princess is that you are mingling with actual Japanese who live in Japan, who are seeing their own country. And when we first came up with the idea of the Diamond Princess, we were actually not thinking that any Americans would go. It was going to be for local Japanese, because Japanese culture is you work very hard, you don't take a lot of vacation time, and you haven't even explored your own country. And so this was a way for the Japanese to visit their own country in different prefectures or parts of the different islands they'd never even been to. But then, of course, Americans, we love to travel. Australians, Canadians, everybody's going. But I just love the melting pot that is the ship, because you are seeing people who are from Japan. They are wearing their kimono. They are speaking in Japanese. And thus and this is a long-winded answer to your question, which was just about food in the dining room. But just to answer it, yes, we do have this great mix of cultures and foods, because we really want to ensure that the local Japanese who are on board have rice available at every meal. All of their comfort foods are always available, and that's your chance to try them out.
You're definitely right.
I don't hear that enough, Yoko. I want you to say that again.
Yes.
Those are words my wife has never said, by the way. I've never heard Christy say that. Okay. One other question was Elizabeth asking, is the onboard purchases in USD or local currency. I will want to, it's in the USD. So, if you're from the United States and you're going, it's going to be charged just like you would no matter where you are in the world on a Princess ship. And so obviously when you go ashore, you're going to be dealing with local currencies, but your shore excursions are all, paid on through the ship folio. And so that's all in USD. So sorry, Joe, I cut you off there. We do want to do a survey. We want to make sure that you have a chance to please fill out the survey. For those on Facebook, you'll see it now in your comment section. So please fill it out. Let's see what you learned. And hopefully there's not as many people who are deer in the headlights, and we have a few more people with a solid grasp and genius. Any other questions that we have that have come in, Joe? Are there any visa or special requirements for the Japan cruises or their itineraries?
And Yoko, I know you had mentioned as for tourists, there's no visas required.
No.
So
You can stay Japan up to the 3 months with American passport.
That's perfect. So when I win the lottery, I can stay for 3 months and experience Japan, no problemo. So that's great. Yeah, it's very easy. Okay, and this is a good question, not related necessarily to Japan, but it's a hot topic. We've been asked quite a bit about Commodore graduation cruises. So for those who don't know what Commodore means, that is our Princess Academy, our award-winning, best-in-class online training platform that allows you to really invest some time to become better at selling Princess, as well as the just industry in general, because the things we teach you in Princess Academy are great about all the different itineraries, the shipboard experience. And once you become known as a Commodore, which is our highest level of ranking, you get a free cruise. But obviously with the pandemic and all of our pauses, we haven't had many opportunities for those to sail. And we've just released, I think this morning we're announcing that we have over 50 cruises to select and almost 1,000 cabins available. And so we are releasing those now. And so you have plenty to choose from, sailing both on the West Coast out of California and of course out of Florida. So we'll be emailing everybody who has earned that Commodore cruise, and they can take advantage of that. And so congratulations for those who are Commodores. If you're not a Commodore, get there, because I tell you what, we see a double-digit increase in your sales with us once you become certified Commodore, because you know what you're talking about. And even though you may not have been to a certain destination, we give you, just like today, some talking points and really share that knowledge with your clients. Okay, Janice is asking, is Princess booking their ship at full capacity? So you may have seen, or if you heard the earnings call from Carnival Corporation, our CEO Arnold Donald and CFO David were hosting yesterday. Our occupancy right now across the corporation is not at 100%. And as we come back into each market, we are basically starting small. And so we are making sure that we are not overtaxing the shipboard team, and we're making sure that we're doing all the new protocols and all the safety measures as good as we can. And that takes a little time to get used to that. And so we're basically getting into the rhythm of cruising. And so as the ship first is introduced, like the Grand Princess just set sail this past weekend for the first time, and she's definitely not full and much lower occupancy, but over time we're going to be getting close to, I'm not saying filling it up, but we're going to be getting closer to that. So it really depends on the ship and the timing, but overall occupancy is not at 100%, and we don't expect to be there for a little while. Good question. And Sandy, vaccine. So for those that don't know, for all of our sailings in 2021, we require all guests and crew to be vaccinated per CDC guidelines. And so that means your last shot has to be done 2 weeks before you get on board the ship, so make sure you have the full efficacy of the vaccine. We have not made an announcement for any of our 2022 cruises, so we'll kind of keep you posted on that as we hear. And as a reminder, all of our cruises in 2021 for the remainder of this year are not only requiring vaccinations, but also pre-cruise testing. So 2 days before you need to get tested. We've done a partnership with Quest Diagnostics. You have test home kits that you can do, which are telemed supervised. And if depending on where you live, it could be your local CVS or Walgreens. Our community college here where I live is doing it. And so a lot of options, and it's free, it's paid for, so you don't have to worry about that. And I do want to say, so that the vaccine requirement means that kids under the age of 12 aren't able to cruise because it hasn't been approved yet. I do know that Pfizer is apparently applying for FDA approval. That's going to take a little bit of time. And so for those, maybe around the holidays, we may have some good news to share, but we'll have to keep an eye on that space for the vaccines for the younger folks. Hopefully I answered that question okay. Any other questions come in? All right, poll results are here. I love seeing these. What did everybody learn? 8% are genius. Hey, we went from 1 to 8. That's pretty good. 72% solid grasp. I think that's almost a 50% increase. 19% are very basic. You may have been on your phone playing Candy Crush while Yoko and Andrea were talking. And then only 1% deer in headlights. So that's really great. Congratulations, everybody. You learned something today. I learned something today, and I've been to Japan a few times, but I never tire of hearing Yoko and the stories and hearing about the culture. Thank you, Susan. Time well spent. That's what it's all about, right? It wasn't worth your time. And hopefully the answer is yes, and you said it is, so thank you. We'll take your word for it, Susan. Thank you, Daniel. Yoko, I just want to say thank you, as always, for your amazing partnership. We love working with you, and thank you for all that you do. Great having you with us.
Thank you. Really appreciate
and we haven't said anything, and we're not speaking Japanese, not that I'm fluent, but arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
And Andrea, thank you as well. Always great being with you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned for our future webinar updates. And I'll be on the Majestic Princess next week. I think, Andrea, you're joining as well. We're doing a 3-day cruise, and with a few of our good travel advisor partners local who have been invited. And we may be doing some updates from the ship. So stay tuned for that. So please watch me on Facebook for any updates about our trip on Majestic. We're so excited to welcome the ship down from Seattle as she ends her Alaska season and as we start our West Coast cruising, California coast and Mexico. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your time. Take care. Be well. Stay safe. Bye-bye.